Hello, hello. How are you doing today? I hope that everything is going well for you. And I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about limiting beliefs around healthy eating, and that is specifically around eating dairy. Yes, because that's something what came up, and honestly, it's coming up almost with every person I talk to about plant-based eating or about, specifically going vegan. That, we just tend to have this fear around, oh my gosh, can I really be without dairy? What about my bones? And, like all these years of being programmed and essentially brainwashed, right, by media, and of course being advised, and that was a well-meant advice, of course, by our parents and doctors and so on, when there was not maybe enough science around whether we really needed dairy in order to build strong bones and be healthy, right? So all this messaging has just made this massive imprint into our subconscious, so not only into our conscious thinking but also into our subconscious. And it is really widely known today that actually subconscious runs 95% of our decisions, and our conscious mind is in charge only of 5%. So you can imagine that if you have been told since you were a child you need to have your milk and yogurts and cheese in order to have strong bones, of course that is what's running the program and your food choices, and you may naturally feel like you are just afraid, you are just not comfortable inside about quitting dairy. And so then that's where the questions come from, right? Like, okay, so what am I gonna do? Where will I get my calcium from? And what about osteoporosis and my teeth health and all of that? So I want to actually first, before I get into it, to help you hopefully dissolve these limiting beliefs, I want to share with you my personal story from my actually plant-based journey. Okay, so when I was pregnant with our third baby, with our youngest son, we at that point I was vegan for how long? For 3 years, 4 years, yes. And so I wasn't eating any dairy at all, okay? But I don't know whether I was maybe 3 months into my pregnancy, 4 months into my pregnancy, and I suddenly panicked. And I said, oh my God, I have no dairy in my diet. What about the calcium? And I went and I bought massive yogurt, the 500 ml, I think, and I ate it up really, really quick. And then I was just thinking, what are you doing? I was just thinking to myself, like, what are you doing? Why are you panicking? Like, the science, that you don't need dairy to build strong bones, right? Or you don't need dairy for your baby to be healthy, as long as your diet is overly healthy and unprocessed and filled with fruits and vegetables and whole grains and beans and so on. And so anyway, but I still did it, and obviously that was it. Okay, I was done with that. But I am sharing it with you as an example of how incredibly powerful and deep that programming of our subconscious and of all those messages we received earlier in our life, how incredibly powerful it can be, regardless of what we want to do or what we learned consciously, right? And so all you really need is just to be aware of this and allow yourself space to keep trying, like go and trial and error and keep going and not being upset with yourself if you give into eating cheese and if you give into using creamer or having latte with a cow's milk, right? Despite you not wanting to. Yes, so that's one part I wanted to address, and then another part in terms of like the dairy and how incredibly important or not it is for our bone health. So first, whenever you are thinking or wobbly about this, I'd like you to realize that calcium is just one nutrient, okay? Now, nothing exists in isolations in the world and in nature, okay? And especially when it comes to nutrition, everything works in synergy. And in the same way, your bones, in order to be strong and flexible, flexibility is incredibly important. They have many factors and many facets to it, okay? So calcium is just one of 20 plus nutrients you need in order to have strong and flexible bones. You also need magnesium and vitamin D and boron and silica. You know, you need loads of other different nutrients. And as it happens, these vitamin K, anyway, and as it happens, these nutrients are beautifully provided within plants, within green leafy vegetables. After all, that's where cows get their calcium from. They get it from eating and, you know, eating grass. That's right where it comes from. And so you don't need a middleman. Okay, by eating plenty of greens, be it in smoothies and salads and stews, all right, and keeping overly alkaline your diet, which is another important factor, you are giving your body such a beautiful range of these nutrients to build healthy, strong, and flexible bones. Okay, so yes, now the alkalinity of your body is also very important, because obviously what happens is that if you happen to be in acidic state, which what contributes to acidity, it would be processed foods, it would be refined sugar, it would be high fat diets, it would be of course animal products. So you know, whether red meat, whatever meat you can think of, poultry, eggs, even fish, all these foods would be highly acidic. Plus dairy itself, now the way body processes it, it's also acidic, right? And so in that instance, of course, if your body is acidic, you would need much more calcium, much more obviously, you know, dairy in order to counteract the acidity. But as I said, when your body is alkaline, when you have plenty of the green matter in your diet of plants, but it really has to be lots of fruits and vegetables, okay, and big variety, then you are beautifully healthy. Okay. On another note, also I wanted to mention that I like to always to think about, you know, like in the past, when multiple pregnancies were very common, right? And you would have a mom nursing how many, 10 children. I mean, she wouldn't be possibly able to keep up, right, just by drinking dairy in order to have enough calcium in her diet. Of course not. And you know, and there would be no need for it, because again, nature and our human body is so smart that whenever we need more calcium, we actually upregulate the absorption. So whatever calcium you get from the diet, whatever calcium you get from your greens, you actually absorb at much higher rate. Okay, and so even if you see somewhere this recommended amounts of calcium very high, those are for people who eat diets, the standard diet, so high in meat, high in dairy, right? Relatively low in plants. Probably also sedentary, possibly high diets high in salt, in carbonated drinks, because all these factors actually drain the calcium out of the body and lead the calcium out of the bones. Yeah, and so for this kind of people, or for these people eating these kind of diets, of course the recommended amount of calcium has to be super high. But as I said, the minute you strip all this away, right, you move gently through the day. You don't need to go crazy. You can just, you know, do exercise, go for walks, gentle runs, maybe, I don't know, play tennis or dance, you know, something like that. And you watch a little bit for caffeine. You don't go crazy about caffeine, for carbonated drinks, and you are reasonable with salt, and you have predominantly plant-based diet, right, with loads of greens in there, then you are absolutely safe. And you also addressed all the other factors, as I said, you know, the lifestyle factors, which actually will help support health of your bones. And so, yeah, so I hope that this a little bit helped put your mind at ease when it comes to, you know, this kind of conflicting belief. Do I really need to drink dairy? Do I really have to have dairy and cheese and milk and all of this in order to be healthy? Because, yeah, look, it really is something what, as I said at the beginning, has been deeply programmed into us. And I would even recommend that maybe if you still feel like very much stuck, maybe journal around it. Okay, so what limiting belief is coming up for you when you think about maybe eating dairy? That you kind of need it and you just find it maybe difficult to move away from it. Okay. Okay, so that's it for me for today. Have a beautiful day and I'll catch you soon. Bye bye.